Keep in mind this is wintertime. There's already power outages in Gaza all the time, but there was virtually no power at this time. It's cold, and you're packed into a room that's probably a quarter the size of this room. In fact, 97 of you, so not far off the number of people that are in here right now, packed into a house. Within 24 hours of being ordered into that house, the Israelis shelled the house. Now I want you to imagine that a rocket comes through the roof and through the wall, and now out of the 97 of you, 22 of you are dead, like that, dead. Not just dead, decapitated, limbs, bowels, all over the place, blood. Those of you who aren't dead, are dying, are injured. What we had was an entire family locked into a house, blood and guts everywhere, and they were not allowed to get medical attention for 4 days. 4 days. There were numerous attempts to try and get medical help to them. They were refused by the Israelis. So for 4 days, no food, no water, no heating, no electricity, no medical help. 4 days. Children were lying next to the corpses of their parents. Parents were lying next to the corpses of their children, uncles and aunts. What would that do to you? Think about it. I mean, it would be hard enough as a strong adult, but as a child to deal with this. Well, that's what they dealt with. I spent time with this family, and I was making stories. I wanted to meet people and tell their story as a means to get people to move, to act, to do more. And I wasn't even going to meet the Samuni family because their story had been told, but I did meet them, and I'm very happy that I did. I became extremely close to this family. I changed my plans. I had plans, a project, I had many people involved in it. I totally changed my plans. I couldn't believe that 3 years on, that they were still without, many of them without their homes. One of the family groups, Zainat Samuni, her husband was shot dead in front of the kids. Her little son, 4-year-old Ahmed Samuni, was shot twice at virtually point-blank range in the chest, and he died over the course of a day in his mother's arms. They were living on a dirt floor.
قد ما هي يعني بتكون متألمة، لكن بدها ابنها تحضنه وتتأكد عليه وتشوفه. اللي هو بقول انا هيني حامل، اخذ اللي هو اخوه مين، اخوه فرج، لو بقول لا هي معايا، صرت اقول لامهم امل، بقول له ولد خلي معطوني ابني، لقيتها معطوله ابنه. لما شفت ابني احمد ساعتها كشفت وعي.
شوف الصدر هذا مكان مبين وجنبي بتراسه كانت مبينة كانوا أكتر واحد مثلها. بعد أحمد فقدني وهو بشد أصابعه وبعد في إيدي وانا مش قادرة اعمل له حاجة. العصريات جاء اخوته، فقلت انه احمد اكيد تاني جاء. خمرت خبزة وكوباية مية وصرت طعمين نتفة في تمه. كان جاعان في اللحظة هذه. صرت احط نتفة يبلح. حسيت انه جاعان بس ما قدرتش اكتر له اكل، قلت اكيد رح يضره. لما كان يقول لي بدي مية احط اصبعي في كوباية مية واحط على شفايفي كان يبلعها. مع اذان المغرب صار ينازع، صار النفس اللي في بطني مثل قبل ما يكمل، قبل اللحظة هذه لما بقول لي ما بدي اخذك معي في الجنة انت وابوك، وبعد الجنة لما بقول صار يكبر، صار يقول لي ما بدي اصلي. قلت له صلي طيب زي ما انت. قال بده يضغط. قلت له صلي زي ما انت من دون ودي احمد. صلى سورة الحمد وقراها، والله العظيم ما تخربط فيه. صرت اقول اشهد ان لا اله الا الله ولا هو، وانا قلبي بتقطع وعارف انه مش هيرجع تاني.
She's telling us the story of her kid Ahmad. She was saying that he was with his uncle, and she went when she escaped and went to a home. She was like, "Give me my son! I want my son! Where is my son?" And he was like, "Okay, your son is with me. Don't worry, he's with me." She was like, "Give it to me," but he did not give him to her. Another one took him, and she was like screaming, "Just give me my son!" When they give him to her, and she saw his chest, the bullets in his head and his chest, she started to cry, and she thought he's dead. But after she sat down and she saw that he was still breathing, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's alive! Just call an ambulance, call anyone, just call anyone and tell them to come. My Ahmed is alive. I want them to make him a surgery, and he will survive. He's alive." So when they started to call people and hospitals, they was like, "No, that area is a closed area. We can't come in. If we come in, they will shoot us. We can't go in that area." And she's saying that after a few hours, he was like, "I want some water." So she bought some water on his lips, and she fed him a little bit of bread. And then at the evening, he was like, "Mom, I'm going to paradise. Don't be sad. I'm gonna take Dad with me to paradise." And that moment she knew that this is the last time she saw or talked to Ahmed, because he was dying in the last moments in the evening.
I couldn't believe, 3 years on, that this family, I mean, not to say that it's okay to just take care of this family, but I couldn't believe that 3 years on, this family was still not taken care of. It blew me away. And because I became so close to these kids in particular, there's over 100 kids in this family, and it's understandable, one of the most insidious and horrible things about the blockade of Gaza, which is now going into 5 years, is that the parents cannot really take care of their children. It's not that they don't want to, it's not that they're not capable of doing it, it's just that the circumstances do not allow it. When it comes to food, they have to go to the UN. 80% of the Palestinians are reliant upon food aid to survive. So when you put the food on the table, it's not food on the table from your mother or your father who's working a job, getting paid and buying the food, it's from the aid agency. So the kids know this. They know, hey, my parents can't provide for me. And secondly, they can't protect me. They can't protect me. The helicopter gunships are flying overhead every day. F-16s, they dropped the bombs on us before, they could do it again tomorrow. They can't stop it, the family can't stop it. Think about what that does to the fabric of society. Think about that. When your children know that you can't protect them nor provide for them. The Israelis know this, and they know it very, very well. And the Europeans know this too, the leaders in Europe and America. And we have the nerve to send some aid and pretend like we're friends to the Palestinians. No, we are guilty of allowing our traitorous, treasonous, corrupt governments to do business with Israel to the tune of 25 billion euros a year in trade. The most prosperous nation in the Middle East is doing very well indeed for their relationship with the EU. So the real friend of the EU is in fact Israel, and the pittance, the crumbs that come with a heavy price tag that are given to the Palestinians are nothing more than a means of institutionalizing this aid dependency, which is destroying the fabric of the culture, and it's intended to do that.
Thus, the culture of aid dependency in Palestine is enormous.
Right now, 30% of the Palestinian GDP comes from foreign aid. If Palestinians were to become disobedient, as defined by those foreign donor states, that donor money would cease to exist. It allows the donor states to essentially blackmail the Palestinian people. And I know blackmail is a strong word, but we saw the negative effects of donor aid in 2006 and its political implications. When Palestinians elected their own government in 2006, the donor aid money was turned off because they defined the results of the Palestinian election as hostile to Western interests. So therefore, they ended donor aid to the Palestinian Authority.
And this is what we're watching, and it is disgusting. And the only way it's going to stop is if we take control. Enough excuses. Enough. We can sit here and we can point the finger at Israel, and for sure, they are responsible for the most hideous of crimes. But how can they get away with this unless we, people of conscience, don't allow it? Can they continue to do what they do if we do what we're capable of doing? Is that the reality of the world that we live in? That we are powerless and they have the power and therefore that's just the way it is? And if that be the case, then I guess we should all just watch X Factor and American Idol and the football match and have a beer or two and have a good time. Because what's the point? The truth of the matter is that we have the power. We as people have the power to achieve whatever we set our minds to. But guess what? There is a price tag that comes with taking that responsibility. Some of us are going to have to pay a greater price than others. That's okay. Not everyone is willing to die for the right cause. That's all right. It's no shame on those that aren't willing to take that kind of role, but everybody has something to offer. Everybody. And if we really want to know who's responsible for all of the crimes of this world, then what we really need to do is go stand in front of a mirror, have a good, hard look at the person staring back at you, and know there's where the problem really is. And if you And I have to say, I can give all you a little bit of a break because you're all a bit younger than me. And I think if there's any one real responsibility in this world, especially if you're a parent, is to hand over this world in a better state than you got it. And it seems like generation after generation after generation has been failing in their responsibility to their children. Otherwise, we would not have this world that we've inherited. Look at what's happened in Libya. Look at what's happened in Iraq. My God, 1.5 million dead people, millions of orphans, depleted uranium all over the place. Birth defects that's going to be happening for generations and generations. My God. And yet it's continuing. And even in the last couple of days, look at this monstrosity of a man named David Cameron and Sarkozy, these disgusting individuals sitting there and talking about an alliance between Britain and France. Oh, isn't that going to make the world a safer place? What a disgusting, farcical reality. And the fact that these people are even able to play out this sickening little play in front of us as if it's anything but a sick and twisted maintenance of the tyranny which allows people's lives to be destroyed on a daily basis to a level that most of us can hardly imagine. We have within our capacity to change that. And I firmly believe that this is it.